folks, welcome back to the channel, Pop Retro. That's Pop Retro 1 at Twitter and Instagram, facebook.com/PopRetro1. Wanted to share with you a haul stack of stuff that I've picked up recently. It's a mixed bag. Some used stuff I picked up on the second-hand market, along with some new additions and some other things other than just movies. There's a couple of TV sets here, a book, and a couple of comic books even that I just thought I'd show you real quick. So 10 items in total. So let's get started. The first one is a replacement, or I should say a switching out of my old VHS copy of The Craft. So this is a 1996 movie, I believe. This came out when a lot of shows were popular that were targeting the youth market back around the time when I was in college, which included shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Dawson's Creek. And a lot of the films that came out around that time were taking advantage of some of these young stars, such as Neve Campbell, who was, of course, on Party of Five back then. Robin Tunney and Fairuza Balk also starring in this. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I've had this for years on VHS, and it's just one of those ones that I never upgraded to DVD. And I saw this for cheap, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick it up and switch it out. It also, not only is it better quality, but it saves some space, right? Those VHS tapes, I don't have huge nostalgia for having a bunch of blocky VHS tapes on my shelf. So the main reason I like VHS now is for things that never got disc releases, so I'll keep those until they get a disc release. There's a look at the inside, and it looks like we got some reversible art, so a quick look at that. And there you have it. I've not watched this in quite a while either. So looking forward to giving it a new spin in high definition. All right, up next we've got another new pickup of an old movie, and that is Kevin Costner, Wyatt Earp. This came out, I don't know, I was like a senior in high school, I think 1994. Open this baby up. It was a PG-13 movie. Long, 190 minutes. And this is a Warner Home Entertainment release. Again, another one, I think it's like $5.99 on sale. Probably on Amazon. So I thought, you know, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. So there's a look at it without the glare of the shrink wrap. Kevin Costner holding his gun. PG-13 for strong gunfights, some language, and sensuality. All right. And there's a look at the disc on the inside. So another one from the 90s, mid-90s, to revisit for me. It's been quite a while, but I've never owned this. This is new to my library, this movie. All right, this next one is kind of cool because I didn't know a lot about it until Heath over at Serial at Midnight. If you never checked out that YouTube channel, make sure you do. It's my favorite movie channel, pop culture channel on YouTube. And he actually interviewed, I think, the director, who also may be the writer of this movie, called Ghostwatch. And this was a movie that aired on Australian TV, if I'm remembering correctly, that sort of had those vibes of like the War of the Worlds radio broadcast that happened in the United States all those years ago, where people saw Ghostwatch when they were just flipping through the channels, I think, and thought, oh my gosh, this is a real news report or whatever. This comes from this disc package, very nice, comes from 101 Films. I think this is my first 101 Films purchase, actually. And so when I saw that interview on the Serial at Midnight podcast and YouTube channel, I thought, boy, this sounds great. I'm going to check it out. And I found this, I think on Amazon, and it was only like, it was like 17 bucks. And so it just looks like it's such a deluxe edition that I thought, oh, this is probably on sale during Christmas time. And so I better pick it up now. So let's take a look at the insides, at the innards. We've got a booklet, a fairly thick booklet with lots of, looks like the screenplay in there. Yeah, it's the screenplay. Check that out. Very cool. Ghostwatch screenplay and the disc on the inside there. Let's go ahead and open it up real quick. Ghostwatch. This was from the early 90s. Aired in 1993 on the BBC. There's a look at the Ghostwatch Blu-ray case. I imagine, if it's not already, that this will be sold on its own, just the Blu-ray version. So I'm happy to have this deluxe version, and I got it for a good price too. Here's another booklet. Looks like more of behind the scenes and some interviews maybe, or perhaps some essays on it. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Just giving it a cursory glance over. And another book. Oh no, these are, it looks like the lobby cards. So we got cards. And I'm not going to unpackage those because I want to get through the rest of this stack of stuff. But I did want to open it up on camera so that you all could see how deluxe this set is. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get this back in there. There we go. Ghostwatch. 1993 BBC from 101 Films. All right, a couple of used items I picked up on the used market, things that I didn't have in my collection, but that I liked. And yeah, just over the years, I was like, oh, I'd like to watch that again. And why do I not have this? And the first one is the Hangover Trilogy. Hard to believe these came out, the first Hangover came out in 2009. I was like, well, the Hangover probably came out, what, in 2015? And then what, maybe 2017, the sequel came? No, it was 2009, 2011, and 2013. Even part 3 is 10 years old now. So a whole decade ago. So I picked this up used for cheap, just so I could have it and rewatch these movies. From Warner Home Int, once again, Warner Home Video, whatever. 3 discs. Each movie has its own disc. There's part 2 and part 3. And then Wolfpack Only, The Hangover Retrospective on an extra disc. So special features on that as well. Now this movie, this next one, came out in like 2005. And I was like, what, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I enjoyed that. I watched it with my girlfriend back, we rented it after it had come out. So this would have been in, I believe, 2005 or 2006, somewhere around there. And I remember thinking recently just, oh, I'd like to watch that again. You know, that came out just a few years ago. And then it just hits you that 2005 is almost 20 years ago now. I mean, it's 2023 at the time that this video is going up, you know, and so these movies are, it's just amazing how the time flies, I guess is what I'm getting at. So Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, Warring Spies. This is back when they were married, of course. So if you have any nostalgia for those mid-2000s movies, that era, Mr. and Mrs. Smith was one of the films that was right up there, probably on your list. This is a Fox release, which I believe means it's probably controlled by Disney now, as much of the Fox library is. So I don't know what kind of future release we may get of this. So I'm glad that there is a release already on the market that you can pick up. All right, a couple of TV on disc sets. This was a over the holidays deal. I think it was about 35 bucks. And I finally decided to pull the trigger on it. And it is the complete series Blu-ray set of Friends. So, gosh, Friends started when I graduated high school. The fall of my freshman year was when Friends started, fall of '94. And I mean, gosh, that's what I have good memories of, Friends and Seinfeld and ER from that era, because it was always roommates and then like the neighbors, like the girls that lived downstairs would come up and we'd have parties where we'd just watch the Thursday night lineup from NBC that was just so, you know, spectacular at the time and highly watched. And so I'll go ahead and open this up right now. I actually bought this, I think, either last year or 2 years ago, but it was one of those deals where It was on a super cheap sale on Amazon during the Black Friday and holidays, but it showed up all cracked up because they didn't package it well. So I sent it back, and it was one of those deals where they didn't give me the option for a replacement. So I just wound up having to look to try to buy it again, and to buy it again, the price went back up like double to its regular price. So I didn't wind up with it. So this replaces DVD sets that I had. I didn't have every season, but I did have like seasons 1 through 4, and then like season 10, the last season. So happy to finally have Friends in the collection in Toto. Looks like there's a bonus disc there on the end. So little TV on disc action, one more TV on DVD set. And this is the 70s cop show with Michael Douglas, Carl Malden, The Streets of San Francisco, the complete series. This is a show that I've only seen sparsely over the years, whenever I could, find an episode here and there. And it's been out on DVD for a while, but it's just one that I haven't been able to pick up until now. So very happy to have that. That Friends set was from Warner. This set is from Paramount CBS Video. Not that you care, but I try to, pass along who is distributing these, because I know some of you care about that stuff here. This is one of those sets, that has just chunks and bricks of discs inside it. So I'm always thrilled when sets like these show up unbroken, because they're so big and bulky. It's nice on the shelf, though. You go from a complete set of all the season sets to something like this, and it just takes up so much less space, so it's so much better. So very much looking forward to any 70s cop shows or detective shows. Always exciting for me, because I love that stuff. All right, one book to show you. This is The Unlocked Interviews by Richard Blade. This is a new release. And basically, how many pages? 275 pages, 278 pages of interviews with mostly new wave and pop artists. You can see a little bit of the rundown on the front cover here. Now, Richard Blade was a DJ. He still is. He has a DJ, a show on, what's it called? Sirius XM satellite radio. But he was one of the original DJs from the 80s who was instrumental in bringing new wave acts over to America. So, like, if you're a big Duran Duran or Depeche Mode fan, Richard Blade is one of the people you can thank for getting their records played in America early on and helping to get them to take off, even just as, MTV was getting up and running and going. So now Blade, in the last couple of years, he's released an autobiography, which I picked up and recommend. And then he released like a prequel book to this, that called The Lockdown Interviews, where he did a bunch of interviews with these kinds of artists, new wave 80s artists, pop artists, during 2020, during the COVID lockdowns. And so this is a follow-up book of new interviews, The Unlocked Interviews. So there you have it. Richard Blade, DJ Richard Blade. Finally, I'm not a big comic book collector, especially now as an adult, but every once in a while I still pick up a few, and mainly of characters and brands that I grew up with. So how do I explain it? I guess, I'm not buying like Superman and Batman comic books or anything like that, but I've kept up with G.I. Joe, and recently the IDW comic book distributor has lost the license to G.I. Joe, and that's happened right around the time of, I think at the end of 2022 is when they lose the license. And so they've been pumping out these over the years, continuing the G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero series that started in the early 80s. And this is issue number 300. I think it may be the last from IDW. I think they've ended it with issue 300. Somebody else will hopefully pick it up, because this is where Larry Hama, the original author of the G.I. Joe comic books from when I was a kid in the early 80s, continued the run on IDW when they picked up the license, which has been really fun and really cool. And so this is cover B. I don't know why I picked cover B back when I ordered this, probably because I like all these Cobra characters. And so there you have it, issue number 300 of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, the comic book. And if anybody who grew up in that era and read the comic book remembers how it was sort of an more adult or more serious rendition of the G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero toy line, okay? Because you had the cartoon, the Sunbow cartoon. Well, it differed in its depiction from the comic book. The comic book was definitely aimed towards a more mature audience, a mature readership. So I like both. I love the G.I. Joe cartoon also, but this was always just, at least when I was a kid especially, it was always just such a more realistic rendering of the G.I. Joe toy line, the characters, the mythos, okay, if you will. So the G.I. Joe story of the 80s. So hopefully it's not come to a complete end. And the final thing I wanted to show you is from American Mythology Productions, which I don't know much about at all. I don't know what this is, but I saw it and wanted to pick it up. And it is issue number 1 of Zorro Masters 2. Now it says featuring the art of Alex Toth. See that up there? And so lifelong Zorro fan here, from the earliest, those old black and white films to, I actually first saw, my first taste of Zorro was when I was in junior high, and the Family Channel had that Zorro syndicated show that they aired for about 3 or 4 seasons. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is great. I love this character, this series. And then I learned that, later that, or during that time, I guess, that it was just another modern retelling of a character that's been around for many, many decades. So here's the latest in my Zorro collection, Zorro Masters 2, issue number 1, which I haven't cracked open yet. So I look forward to doing that soon and checking it out. All right, there you have it, a stack of stuff that I picked up probably through the month of December 2022, so I thought I'd share that with you here. I will be back with some more haul videos and some more reviews as we get into 2023. Boy, the time is flying. And so I'll catch you then.